This is a Nordhavn N68. Now, we've been on a 68 before. This one's a little different. Firstly, this one has the flybridge. The last one we saw didn't have the flybridge, so keen to have a look at that. But there's also a few other subtle and somewhat less subtle differences as we go through, where this one's been changed, and it's a really interesting one to have a look at. And of course, beyond all of that, we always do love a good look around a Nordhavn, don't we? So we're going to do the full tour on this one. We're going into every area and show you what it's all about. Starting right here, of course, on the bathing platform, we've got shore power leads going in over on this side, and there's another transom door over there as well. And then over here, this one is the shower. So if you've been in swimming, you've got a hot water shower on the back of the boat. It's worth mentioning that this particular one is a 2021, so about 4 years old, and it's had some use. And I mentioned that because actually the condition on this is superb. It looks really, really good. And if you didn't know, you'd think this is brand new. It's lovely. We've got the aft deck here, of course, Maggie the Baggy chilling in the centre there, and then over behind her is the barbecue. This is what I mean. Look at the condition of that. That's a gas barbecue. The actual gas cylinder for that then lives down inside here. We've got a rope handling winch here in case that's needed, and then this is just bits of storage, usual kind of stuff. Another rope handling winch over on that side. We've got the side deck through to the bow on this side, but what they've done is typically the way on these is taken then the cabin all the way out to this side. So you just have the side deck on one side, you have the narrow walkway on that side, so you can get down it for cleaning and things, but clearly it's not a normal route. And the other thing that we have out here before we go inside is the filler cap. There we go. And what I was actually expected to find there was engine handling controls or docking controls. And I know I've seen them. They're over here. There we go. So that's obviously for stern to berthing. You've got engine control, thruster controls, etc. Let's head on in, and you'll see immediately, well, two things. Firstly, just how much space taking this bulkhead right out to the edge gives you. It gives you a tremendous amount of beam, gives you space for this dining here. But the other thing that's changed from the other one that we saw is the galley. This is much more like the galleys on the larger Nordhavns, the way they've set it over to this side at an angle with the bar area. That actually looks and works really well. But these are always open to a lot of customization. So when you order these new, there's a lot of things that you can change as you go through, set the boat up for exactly how you want to use it. Pop-up TV, I'm sure you spotted for yourself. If we head on forward then, we've got a stairway down here. We're going to do that, of course. And we've got a stairway up. We're going to go that way too. So this is this galley. As I say, it's quite different. If you look at the other N68 video on the channel, you'll see the difference with that, which is quite interesting. If we head on around a bit further, of course, a load of refrigeration, as you'd expect for this type of boat. It's over here as well. And then we've got the conventional oven, but also a steam oven on this one too, which is interesting. And then over here, the hob, the dishwasher, that's a Miele, and we've got the got the sink here as well. This is quite interesting. They've done things like, this is for your pots down underneath here, but then you've got this drawer above it for the lids. I rather like that idea. I've not seen that done before, so that's pretty nifty. And then similar kind of deal here for your cutlery. All very good. These little chaps here allow you to put on little holders, so that if you're out at sea and it's rough, it holds your pans in place, so you can still cook. There we go, extractor fan, of course, loads more storage up around the top. And this again is a change for the owner that had this one built, because this is normally a day heads. This owner wanted to have the laundry facilities here because it's mostly a couple operating the boat, and it is an owner operator, this one. Obviously, of course, you can have a crew if you want to, but this particular boat's owner operated. They wanted to have the laundry facilities near to their cabin just to save moving stuff about quite so much. Over here then, we've got refrigeration again. These are the ones that you can set up I think I'm right in saying, to be whatever you want them to be. So you can be fridge or freezer. Very good. And then if we head on forward again, we have the owner's cabin. There we go. A great size. We've got the big hull windows as well, and very Nordhavn in terms of the quality of the fit out. It looks really good. And of course, being up here in the bow, we have the overhead hatches for more light and more ventilation if required. These, of course, are just bug screens or night screens that come across like this. There we go. And you can see the tender up there as well. Excellent. We'll go up there, of course, and have a look at that. There is on this one a walk-in closet. That's over on this side, like so. So that's a decent size. And then beyond that, of course, you've got wardrobes and that sort of thing dotted around the place. A load of drawers here and over by the bed, and then yet more closet space. There we are. That's nice, isn't it? If we head across, again, loads more drawers down here, more closet space here, and a very nice ensuite up through here. The actual toilet is in behind another door here, so that's quite helpful. That's tucked away down there. Again, bits more storage about the place. There's a shower, of course, you probably saw that as we came through. That's in here. And thusly. But yeah, nice big space that, isn't it? And the mirror wave. And also here, this is again very Nordhavn, is this access hatch here. There we go. Will take us down into an engineering space. There we go. And in here we've got things like the hot water tank is in here. We've got water pumps, so we've got the main pump and we've got a backup pump. So there's the problem, you're not without fresh water. Bow thruster is here as well. You can see the hydraulic hoses for that because it's a hydraulic thruster on this one. Fire system in here as well. And then water filters and all that kind of thing. So it's predominantly a sort of plumbing area really, but a useful space. It's all very Nordhavn, isn't it? All nicely marked out, all very get-at-able. Cool, okay, let's come back out of here. Drop that one back down. Put that back as we found it. Chuck the label away. Perfect. Okay, let's press on. Nice space. It might sound like the air conditioning is quite noisy. That's because it's only just been switched on. We've got to this boat early, so it's running quite hard at the minute. Once it gets to temperature, obviously that will settle down. You notice these red lights about the place down here, across there. That's for night use when the boat's underway and you don't want to have the main lights on, but people need to be able to find their way around. And it gives you the ability to move around, see what you're doing, but not lose your night vision. Okay, I think what I'm going to do, which way should we go now? Let's go down. We'll look at the rest of the accommodation, but also the engine access is down here as well. So we'll do all of that and then we'll work our way on up. So the first thing to greet us at the bottom of these stairs is this typically Nordhavn. Oh, actually says please do not open, so we will respect that, of course. But you can see it perfectly well. it's the distribution panel. So it's the 120 and 240 systems. We've also got the 24 volt ship systems on here as well, generator control, all that sort of thing. Interesting thing about this one actually is lithium batteries and solar power. So I was talking to the gentleman representing this one earlier, and he was saying that they run this boat 5 days at a time without ever firing up the generator. And then we've got the big switches down here as well. So if we go, which way should we go? Let's go forward first of all. This one is giving us a double here. Very nice size. Again, air conditioning controls and that sort of thing about the place. And this has its own ensuite up here. There we go. It's all very comfortable, isn't it? There's a nice feel to these. This sort of boat, you know, it's not designed to be flash. It's designed to come on board, spend a few days or a few weeks or a few months or even a few years, and for everyone to feel at home. It doesn't feel like a showpiece. And I think that's very much the mark of these boats. Very nice. A load of storage, of course, under the bed. Down across here, we've got drawers here and so forth. And there's also, oh yeah, there we are. I knew I'd seen it somewhere. Little wardrobe, like that. Very good. Okay, let's have a loop round here. VIP guest cabin. Okay, so this is the larger one. So here you've got obviously a bit more space again. So the wardrobe on this one, for example, quite a lot bigger. And then we've got drawers by the bed. We've got an ensuite, of course, over here. And then the shower to this one's in here. There we go. Very nice. Let's press on a little bit further. I'll show you just in behind here, because in here we have wine cooler, and then there's more storage for towels and linen and all that kind of stuff. Housekeeping. That's the expression I'm looking for, isn't it? Just there. That one is a bit more storage. Good. And while we're here, it makes perfect sense to go through this door because, as I'm sure you've guessed for yourself, this is the beating heart of the machine. Look at that. This is what Nordhavn's are all about. They give so much space to this area, and for the kind of people that buy this kind of boat, who tend to be a bit more hands-on and a bit more into serious offshore long-distance cruising, this of course is very, very important. And interestingly, normally we see John Deere's on this one. This one's actually been specified with a Scania engine. The interesting thing about this engine, I was told earlier, 500-hour oil change intervals. And that's one of the reasons that it was selected. If you're doing a huge amount of hours, then clearly it makes sense to be able to increase that. It's a DI 13080. It's 400 horsepower. Now, very important to point out that these are a strictly displacement boat. So you find with boats, take a planing boat of this size, you're probably looking at, I don't know, maybe 5 times that power, and that's because they'll use 1 times that power to go along up to displacement speeds, and then when you start battling with physics and pushing them up onto the plane to go faster, you need a massive, massive amount more power. These boats simply don't do that. What you do with this is top out at 11 knots, flat out. You cruise therefore at about 8.5, and that makes it a very, very economical boat. You're looking at about a 3,000 mile range. And sometimes people say, well, I'd want a bigger engine, go faster. You can't, it doesn't work like that. Once you hit displacement speeds with a displacement hull, that is as fast as the boat will go, no matter how much more power you put in. The only way you get the higher speeds is to put a planing hull under them and a lot more power. That's not what these boats are about. So yeah, wouldn't make any difference putting a larger engine. This type of hull, you go for an engine that will take it to maximum speed with a bit in reserve, and you're done. And that's what this engine does. There is a wing engine, so as a backup, clearly if all else fails, with the main engine, you need to be able to get it home. That's what that Win engine does. It's a John Deere, it's 160 horsepower. So you're probably looking at more like, I don't know, 8 or 9 knots flat out, but it's a sort of 6 knot get you home job. You know that you're not going to be let down if the main engine lets go. What else can we talk about in here? Generator. Big generator over here. As I mentioned earlier, it's got a lithium battery pack even, and solar generation, which means that I'm told, very rarely gets used. But nonetheless, there it is, and yes, it's a Nordhavn, so yes, there is a backup to that as well, which I'll show you. Fire system in here as well. That one up there is part of the camera system, so you can keep an eye on this from the bridge. Obviously you'd want to wander down and do regular checks anyway, but it means you can monitor it should you want to. Again, it's all so well lit and well plumbed and just well designed generally. We've got track stabilization on this one. That's the control box for that just there. You might even see the stabilizers somewhere. Can I see them? No. Okay, they're pointing them out, otherwise they're tucked away there somewhere. If we come through this bulkhead here, of course there's a door here that closes this off. We're back under the aft deck now, which is where that ladder would take you up to. And this is giving us things like the, I think these are the water makers if I remember rightly. And there's 2 of those, by the look of it. I think that's what those are. Air conditioning is over here. This is the backup generator. Just to my right, another hatch up to the lazarette there. Again, camera system in here. And the lithium battery pack is in behind that bulkhead there. So really good size. And you can see we've got these big inverters here as well, which allow you to run all the mains stuff directly from those batteries. You don't need to run the generator. Also here, the shore power cable handling systems. If I come right on back, you'll see them here in the corner. So these will power in the cables and coil them up. It makes those an awful lot easier to deal with because they're big heavy cables when you get to this size of boat. Very nice. Very nice indeed. All right, let's back up out of here. You can see all the battery switches here. Look at this. Looking on the other side of this ladder. There we go. Nice, isn't it? Alrighty, let's head back out of here. And we'll head on up. And I'll show you the bridge area. And I'll also show you around the decks, the boat deck, the fly bridge, all that kind of stuff. There we are. Oh, this one here is interesting. This is a centrifuge for polishing the diesel. So when you brought the diesel on board, you can run it through there. It spins at very, very high speed and it pulls the impurities out of the diesel. It polishes it, that's what they call it. So it's cleaning it basically. And that means you get clean, fresh diesel into your tanks, not mucky stuff. And also this boat, I think I'm right in saying, had increased fuel tank capacity as well. And certainly you can see from the sight gauges here and here just how big those tanks must be. I like the fact there's engine controls down here as well. So if you're doing work on the engines, you want to run them up, you can do it from there. That's an impressive space, isn't it? And as I say, you've got to bear in mind that's very much what these owners want and what Nordhavn build. It's absolutely an offshore go anywhere boat, and a lot of priority is therefore given to this space, because without this you've got nothing. Okay, let's come back out and we'll head round and we'll head up. So that's the VIP cabin, that's cabin 3, and we saw of course the owner's cabin off the main deck. Good, we'll come back up here. This one's actually got diesel heating as well as the air conditioning. That's interesting. That's a nice space, isn't it? Lovely. All right. Nice, nice, nice. This then will take us up to the bridge. Here we go. Now some interesting changes here, because normally these would have an internal ladder, internal steps, exactly like we just came up, that step up here and take you up to the flybridge. What this owner chose to do, and they were the first to do it, is remove those stairs up to there and instead put them on the outside. You can just see them going up there, and we'll go up there in a minute. And the thinking behind that was, if you're going up onto the flybridge, it's almost certainly a nice day, so having outside access is of no issue. What it does in return is increases the size of the day heads up here. So with this one now, it's not just the loo and the sink, and normally it would come to there and stop. It allows a shower to be added here. And the reason that that's useful is because there is actually a small pilot's cabin here. Now I mentioned this one is owner operated, so this really is a bit more of an overflow cabin than anything. It's not, as I say, got a permanent skipper aboard it. However, it does mean that if this is in use, then this makes a very good accompaniment to it, because you've got the toilet and you've got the shower. Obviously there's blinds that come down over these windows here and here, but with them up it gives you really good vision out from the wheelhouse, which is here. There we go. So another dinette area up here, which is nice, and then the helm itself. Here we go. Lots to look at here. We've got the water systems along here, grey water system, black water system. I was right, there's our water makers, and there's two of them. There's those boxes, those white boxes we saw down in the engine room. We've got the Scania, engine control for the main engine. There we go, that's better. Got a compass up here. That's a magnetic compass, so independent of all electronics. And then we've got some more of the system controls up here, as you can see. Fire system is up here, bilge system is up here, all that kind of stuff. And then if we come down a level, we have communications. Let's see if I can get that a bit brighter for you. There we go. And then the screens across here. So this is set up currently for navigation. We've also got radar on here. There we go. We've also got the operating system, a very, very complex upgraded operating system on this one. That again was owner specification. You can touch onto here and it gives you masses of access to just about everything. And you can change. We're on moored at the minute because we're stopped. So it's giving a display that makes sense for that. But if you hit the underway button, it changes it to give you the main engine instrumentation, the wing engine instrumentation. Everything's configured for when you're underway. But there's loads of stuff you can get to here. We can look at water tanks, for example, like this. We can go into shore power, this kind of stuff. We can go into, oh, let's try it again, hang on. What else is interesting to look at? Bilge pumps are here, for example. So you can see everything, that it's got power, whether or not anything is running. Camera is on here, fire systems are on here. It's a very, very comprehensive system indeed. Fuel tanks, that would be an interesting one, wouldn't it? Here we go. So you can see here, port is 840 gallons. Then we've got the supply, that's like the day tank with 200 gallons. We've got then a forward tank with 1,200 and a starboard tank with 827. So you can then see basically what fuel you've got, and you can move those around. And that's where that polishing system comes in, because as you move them from tank to tank, that's how you polish it. Good, let's go back to, hang on, moored. That's the one it was on. There we go. Anything else to show you here? That's part of that system. This is part of the navigation systems, this Fruno kit here. We have bow and stern thruster. There's a hydraulic, as we discussed earlier. The autopilot control is here. Engine controls, navigation, PEC, and so forth. But also here then we've got, again, some of the 24 volt switching that you might need to get to when you're at the helm. 12 volt stuff is here as well, and so forth. So that again, all to hand. Very nice. Very nice indeed. Good, let's go and take a wander around the outside. And we will go out of here. Which way should we go? Let's go to this one. There's doors on both sides. Too much choice sometimes, isn't there? I'll take you aft first of all. So we have an upper deck outside area here. Life rafts are here as well. There's one there, there's one on the other side, and we've got a nice table there. This is a nice place to sit when the boat is underway or at anchor, because of course it's head to wind then. This is nice and sheltered here. And this is this stairway that was put on the outside. As I say, normally it's on the inside, but this makes a lot of sense because it frees up so much space in there. And as mentioned, if you're coming up to the flybridge, almost certainly it's a nice day. Up here, and this is what was missing on the other boat that we saw, that particular owner, because they were using it in a fairly northern latitude, didn't want the flybridge. This boat clearly has it, and here it is. So there's a bar area up here. This is giving us storage, of course, but also a fridge and the sink. Another nice seating area here, and then the double helm seats and the upper helm. And I know what you're saying, there's the wheel. It runs on autopilot when you're underway, but you do have tiller control here via the autopilot, so you can still steer the boat from there. But as I say, most of the time you are simply set on a course and that's being held for you. We've got engine controls here for the main engine and the wing engine. We've got a repeater multifunction display to display navigation or the onboard systems, whatever else. Communications again is up here, of course, and there's a hardtop on this one as well. There we go. And quite the view from here, as you'd expect. We're a long way up. Look at that, we're actually looking down on some of these other boats. Lovely. Let's press on around. I want to show you the boat deck. This, incidentally, is a ladder for maintenance purposes so that you can get up onto the top of the hardtop. There we go, and that is giving you access. If we come over here, we can see it a little bit better, to satellite domes. The radar is up there, of course. The FLIR camera is up there. The little silver fellow right on the top, looks like a very modern broomstick, is a lightning conductor. We've got navigation lights up there as well. And this ladder, it unfolds. You can see it's clipped up at the minute just here. In case you're wondering, would you have to take a running jump at it? No, you unclip those and it folds down and comes down full length. The reason you can fold it in half like that is to discourage people from going up there, which clearly at a boat show, or if you have children running about, is a very sensible idea indeed. There we go. I think sometimes there's not a huge amount of difference between small children and boat show visitors. Most of them are very, very nice. But having worked a few boat shows in the past, you always get the odd challenging one. So yeah, best to discourage people wandering up into places like that. Let's head on forward. Much more to see. These are wing stations here, and they're on either side of the boat. So we've actually got, what have we got? We've got 5 control systems. We've got one here. We've got one over on the other side, that's 2. We've got the main bridge, that's 3. We've got the one up on the flybridge, that's 4. And of course we saw one on the aft deck. So yeah, you're not short of places to control the boat. Very helpful, of course, when you're manoeuvring, because if you're coming this side too, you can stand here and you can look right down the side of the boat. That is excellent. These fellas here, I'm not completely certain what they are, but I suspect that what those are stabilizing systems. You can hinge them out and put basically fins that roll along just under the water that are connected and help to stabilize the boat. I think that's what they are. Somebody will say in the comments now that I'm completely wrong. I don't think I am though. Storage in here, like so, very helpful for deck gear. And then up here is the boat deck. So we've got a big crane, as you can see, for lifting a pretty decent sized tender on and off, 60 horsepower on that one. But there is space here. You could put, for example, a personal watercraft, another tender. I've seen these done, which I really like the idea of, with a tender on this side and a sailing boat on this side, like a little sailing dinghy. So when you get to your destination and you want to go and explore, you can go sailing. I think that's a fantastic idea. So yes, that crane, as you can see, it's a pretty meaty piece of kit. You can get a pretty decent tender up here. Let's head right up onto the bow. There's more clever thinking up here, because what they've done with this is there's a hydraulic anchor winch. You can see it in the center here, but this one is a backup electric winch, and you'll see these rollers allow the chain to be diverted across to that and back to here. If you had a hydraulic failure, you still have control over your anchor and your anchor chain. absolute worst case scenario, I suppose, you could pull that up manually, but you wouldn't want to, because look at the size of the anchor. Probably take a couple of you, wouldn't it? That's a huge piece of kit. Yeah, you wouldn't want to do that. Hence, you have that backup. Very reassuring. All this kind of stuff, like all of these things, you hope you'll never need, but it's nice to know it's there. And this is a great place to take a look back and say, isn't that a proper little ship? We had to get it in somewhere, didn't we? Let's head back down this side. I think we've pretty much covered it, but I just want to show you where all the deck routing goes. And this is the best way to do that. So we'll head down here and we'll go right back to where we came in. So this is, of course, the wider side deck. This is your normal route backwards and forward on the outside of the boat. You've also got things like your fuel fillers and so forth are here. And thusly, side gate as well, very helpful if you're alongside a dock. And you've got the cleats that are recessed in over here. And we'll come right on back to where we started, which was coming in over here. There we go. I think we have done that one. A pretty good, comprehensive and thorough tour. I'll end up back on the bathing platform where we stepped on board. And I'll finish up by saying massive thanks to Nordhavn. Always a pleasure to look aboard these. Thank you so much for organising that. And huge thanks to you guys for watching. I know you enjoy a Nordhavn and I'll be very interested to hear your comments. We'll catch you on another one of these real soon. Take care. Bye-bye.